Bro, your dream has officially turned into a nightmare. And as always, the most important topic of every week, Canelo.
Oscar De La Hoya sparks controversy again with bold statements on Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga fight. Oscar has revealed some shocking insights before Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga fight. Oscar De La Hoya slams Canelo Alvarez for considering Edgar Berlanga. Is this fight hurting Canelo's legacy? Oscar De La Hoya has sparked intense controversy with his harsh criticism of a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight, labeling it a mistake for the sport. The former six-weight world champion turned Golden Boy Promotions boss has made a habit of blasting his enemies on social media, and he has fired fresh barbs at the trio of fighters. In a clapback video uploaded to his Instagram account, De La Hoya mocked Brooklyn-born Berlanga, doubling down on his claim that he is not Puerto Rican. He mocked, "Edgar Berlanga, I called you out for not being Puerto Rican. I simply spoke the facts, so you got embarrassed and posted a 14-year-old photo of me that the world has already seen and memed a million times. Why didn't you post your birth certificate from Puerto Rico unless you don't have one? Don't tell me you're another lame who is offended by the truth." After poking fun at Berlanga, De La Hoya turned his attention to Haney, who suffered a chastening defeat to Golden Boy's Ryan Garcia in April, before the result was overturned due to Garcia failing an anti-doping test. Haney was filmed arguing with a person at the Orange County Fair in Costa Mesa, California, appearing to throw a punch that did not connect with its intended target. De La Hoya reveled in the opportunity to laugh at the 27-year-old's expense, telling followers, "In other news, Devin Haney had his comeback last week at the Orange County State Fair. I don't know if you've seen the full video, but Devin throws a punch at a civilian all while standing in front of the Ferris wheel, and he missed. The dream has officially turned into a nightmare." De La Hoya finished his message with a customary dig at Alvarez. He said, "And as always, the most important topic of every week, Canelo, F.U." The 35-year-old faces Berlanga in Las Vegas on September 14. He last crossed paths with De La Hoya when the unified super middleweight champion defeated Golden Boy fighter Jaime Munguia in May, when De La Hoya launched a withering attack on Alvarez at the pre-fight press conference. Canelo told ESPN in response, "I don't think it was necessary, but I don't expect anything less than that from Oscar. He just wants attention, and he doesn't care if he steals attention from his fighter. He doesn't care about his fighters." Oscar De La Hoya has once again hit out at Canelo Alvarez for not working with Turki Al-Sheikh. The Mexican was unhappy with the Saudis approaching him for the Terence Crawford fight. Canelo's criticism was centered around the fact he was fully focused on facing Edgar Berlanga on September 14th. Therefore, any discussion outside of that was seen as overlooking Berlanga. Canelo then dismissed facing Crawford, saying he had no interest in fighting a much smaller fighter.
Somebody told you to fight Canelo.
Canelo? Come on. You know, in my prime, I would have just tapped that. Look at it. Easy, quick.
Easy work.
Easy work. He's flat-footed. He walks on quicksand, so anyway.
Oscar De La Hoya recently voiced strong opinions about a potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga. He criticized the idea, questioning whether Berlanga is even on Canelo's level. De La Hoya suggested that this matchup wouldn't make sense for Canelo, considering his legacy and status as one of boxing's top fighters. De La Hoya believes that Berlanga still has much to prove before stepping into the ring with a fighter like Canelo, hinting that Canelo should be focusing on bigger challenges and tougher opponents. Bernard Hopkins, De La Hoya's business partner, also chimed in, echoing Oscar's skepticism. "This fight would be a step backward for Canelo. He needs to face the best to cement his legacy, not someone who's still finding his feet." Hopkins is suggesting that Canelo needs to focus on fighting the very best in the sport, fighters who are closer to his skill level and have a proven track record. Hopkins feels that fighting Berlanga would not push Canelo forward in his career or enhance his legacy, as Berlanga hasn't yet proven himself among the sport's elite. Canelo's fight versus Dmitry Bivol was iconic. He has faced top-tier opponents throughout his career, from Gennady Golovkin to Dmitry Bivol. These are high-stakes fights against world-class competitors that have helped solidify his legacy.
The September 14th fight has been made. Canelo Alvarez, Edgar Berlanga. A fight that nobody asked for. Fans are now starting to boycott Canelo for continuing to duck you-know-who. Also, they're going up against the UFC at the Sphere. Woo, good luck with making a splash with that one.
A fight that nobody asked for. The Mexican was clear that any cooperation had to be done on his terms. Al Sheikh reacted by claiming Canelo wanted to take easier fights with unrealistic amounts of money. De La Hoya is working closely with the Saudis following their recent deal. Their first fight takes place between Virgil Ortiz Jr. and Serhii Bohachuk on August 10th. De La Hoya hit out at Canelo for not working with the Saudis to make the biggest fights. Teddy Atlas, known for his fiery takes, added, "Canelo has already proven himself against elite fighters. Berlanga? Not yet, but boxing isn't always about meritocracy. Sometimes it's about hype and excitement. This fight could sell tickets, but is it right for the sport?" Atlas is concerned that while this fight might be popular and profitable, it may not align with the principles of fair competition where fighters should earn their chances based on skill and achievements.
Canelo, I just saw another video where you're still talking shit. All you say is, "Oh, he stole from me." Well, obviously, aside from defaming me, why do you look inside your own circle? Because I know for a fact that people are stealing from you. By the way, you lined my pockets, you made Munguia a shitload of money, all because you're afraid of David Benavidez.
Hall of Famer Oscar De La Hoya recently took to social media to send a stern message to Canelo Alvarez. Oscar has launched yet another social media rant aiming at Devin Haney, Saul Canelo Alvarez, and his upcoming opponent Edgar Berlanga. His remarks stirred debate among fans, with some agreeing that Berlanga might be too green for such a fight, while others see it as a potentially entertaining bout. The tension between De La Hoya and Canelo has been well documented, so his critique also seemed like part of their ongoing rivalry.
You guys know how I am or whatever. I fucking hate Oscar De La Hoya. I hate this guy. He's a scumbag and just he's a snake. And I told him not to go on this night. He did what he wanted to do, and here we are. I respect Canelo and I respect all the other fighters.
Dana White has been notoriously critical of Oscar De La Hoya over the years, often taking jabs at him for his approach to promoting and managing fights. White's perspective on De La Hoya revolves around his belief that De La Hoya is more concerned with his personal gain and business interests than the well-being of the sport or its fighters. De La Hoya and Alvarez were longtime partners, with the 51-year-old managing the Mexican's career for many years, but they have become bitter rivals since trading inside La Hoya has made it abundantly clear he is unhappy with Canelo's decision to fight rising contender Berlanga next, rather than unbeaten star David Benavidez. Oscar De La Hoya ripping into Canelo Alvarez over his back and forth with Turki Al Sheikh.
Oh, hello again. Guess what time it is? Time for your new favorite 5 minutes of the week, Clapback Thursdays. This actually might be my favorite one so far. So it turns out I'm not the only one who thinks Canelo is an arrogant piece of... Turki Al Sheikh recently revealed that Canelo refused to meet with him in person and isn't entertaining any deals to be done with him. Why? Because he's outpriced himself so much that the Saudis don't even want to deal with him. And it's all because he will do anything not to fight David Benavidez. Look, Turkey is trying to make the best fights that everybody wants to see. And Canelo continues to take the fights that nobody wants to see. That takes me to Edgar Berlanga, who is fighting Canelo on September 14. Now he claims he has a whole country behind him. Edgar, bro, you're from Brooklyn. I think I'm more Puerto Rican than you are, and I only lived there for 6 years. Puerto Rico doesn't claim you, bro. And as I said weeks ago, this fight will not do well on September 14. Not only because the matchup is okay, but because they're going up against the UFC's debut at the Sphere in Las Vegas. Now that's a spectacle that everyone and their mother has been waiting to see since it opened up about a year ago. And who is funding it and making it all happen? Turki Al Sheikh. Canelo, you're really making the wrong enemies. But you know what?
So it turns out, I'm not the only one who thinks Canelo is an arrogant piece of rubbish. Turki Al-Sheikh recently revealed that Canelo refused to meet with him in person and isn't entertaining any deals to be done with him. De La Hoya said, why? Because he's outpriced himself so much that the Saudis don't even want to deal with him, and it's all because he will do anything not to fight David Benavidez. Look, Turkey is trying to make the best fights that everybody wants to see, and Canelo continues to take the fights that nobody wants to see. However, De La Hoya appears to have done something similar. The WBC ordered Shakur Stevenson to face his mandatory opponent, William Zepeda. De La Hoya responded by saying that no one would tell his fighter who he should fight. Oscar also revealed that Shakur would only get that fight if he signed with Golden Boy Promotions. Stevenson is currently a free agent after leaving Top Rank. Hearn on De La Hoya that has created the narrative that De La Hoya is also preventing the biggest fights from being made. The introduction of the Saudis has allowed the biggest networks and promoters to work together. The Saudis also signed a deal with Top Rank, while they have strong relationships with Matchroom Boxing and Queensberry Promotions. While Canelo is big enough to work on his own, De La Hoya's position stunts the growth of other fighters. Eddie Hearn was not happy towards Oscar's approach. He quoted, "For me, I don't really care for tying a fighter down for 5 fights or 3 years. If they like working with you, they like working with you. If they don't, they don't. Someone like Golden Boy and those kind of guys, they will only allow him Shakur to fight William Zepeda if he signs a long-term deal with them." Eddie Hearn's comment reflects his frustration with how Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions handle fighter contracts. Eddie further said, Oscar De La Hoya also said that he would only make the fight if he was with Golden Boy, which is a disgrace to boxing. This is from a guy who says promoters should work together and that the best should fight the best. Now, you can only get Zepeda if you're with Golden Boy, which is bizarre. We're Matchroom Boxing with the same platform doesn't. Hearn points out the contradiction in De La Hoya's actions, as De La Hoya claims that the best should fight the best, yet limits access to his fighters unless they sign with his promotion.
Because he's outpriced himself so much that the Saudis don't even want to deal with him. And it's all because he will do anything not to fight David Benavidez. Look, Turkey is trying to make the best fights that everybody wants to see. And Canelo continues to take the fights that nobody wants to see.
6th Division World Champion Oscar De La Hoya has never been one to shy away from confrontation with active fighters, continuously feuding with Canelo Alvarez, the most notable of his beefs. However, in the latest provocation of the Mexican superstar, Golden Boy also targeted both Edgar Berlanga and Devin Haney. Whilst De La Hoya's arguments with Alvarez are the most well-documented, the 1992 Olympic gold medalist has most recently been gunned for Berlanga, who is scheduled to face Canelo in a few weeks' time. To grind the gears of the undefeated super middleweight, De La Hoya joked that he was more Puerto Rican than Berlanga because he had lived there for 4 years, in response to Berlanga's belief that the country is behind him. Instead, De La Hoya posted a video stating that Puerto Rico does not claim Edgar Berlanga and that he is a New Yorker rather than Puerto Rican. Much to the delight of De La Hoya, those words triggered a response from The Chosen One, who announced on social media that De La Hoya tried to sign last year and flew in to have a sit-down with him. In typical De La Hoya fashion, he has now clapped back with a comeback of his own, but refused to deny the legitimacy of Berlanga's comments, opting to double down on whether Berlanga was truly Puerto Rican. In the same video, De La Hoya's focus then switched to Devin Haney, who he has taken a recent dislike to after Haney's defeat to Ryan Garcia was overturned to a no contest and all the drama that surrounded their bout. Here, De La Hoya poked fun at a recent viral clip that appeared to show the former undisputed lightweight champion involved in an altercation at a fairground before signing off with a familiar message to Canelo Alvarez. He further pointed out, in other news, Devin Haney had his comeback fight last week at the Orange Country State Fair. I don't know if you have seen the full video, but Devin throws a punch at a civilian, all while standing in front of the Ferris wheel, and he missed. Bro, your dream has officially turned into a nightmare. And as always, the most important topic of every week, Canelo. In spite of De La Hoya's disapproval since the announcement of the event, Canelo Berlanga will take place on September 14th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas for the unified WBC, WBA, and IBF super middleweight titles and will be available to watch live on Amazon Prime Video PPV. De La Hoya said that fans are starting to boycott Canelo due to his ducking David Benavidez, who has already given up on trying to fight him and has moved up to 175. Oscar states that Canelo will need luck with his fight against Berlanga competing with the UFC on September 14th.
Why can you not give us Canelo Benavidez? Why? Canelo, why? I do not understand it. You're demanding $200 million? So basically Canelo doesn't want to give us the good fights. When you have Turkey, who is making the best fights, who literally wants to make the best fights, and he's forking over the bill? Be my guest. Please, make more. It's great for boxing. He's literally saving boxing, and this is what I've been talking about all along. He's a savior to the sport. He has deep pockets, obviously, and he wants to make the best fights happen. Canelo, don't screw it up for us.
De La Hoya once again asked Canelo what he isn't fighting with David Benavidez. The revenue that WBA, WBC, WBO super middleweight champion Canelo will lose out on from ticket sales is just the tip of the iceberg. The UFC event will also likely impact the Canelo-Berlanga PPV numbers, said Oscar De La Hoya on his Clapback Thursdays, reacting to the news of Canelo Alvarez defending his 3 super middleweight titles against Edgar Berlanga on September 14th. Berlanga has been in the pipeline for a fight against Canelo since Eddie Hearn signed him last year. He said, "The September 14th fight has been made. Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga, a fight that nobody asked for. Fans are beginning to boycott Canelo for continuing to duck you-know-who." Immediately after signing the New Yorker Berlanga, Hearn began discussing wanting to match him against Canelo. It's too bad Hearn didn't at least match Berlanga against a credible contender for him to earn the Canelo fight instead of having it given to him after wins over these 2 lesser British fighters, Padraig McCrory, Jason Quigley. Also, they're going up against the UFC at the Sphere. Good luck with making a splash with that one, said De La Hoya. It's going to be difficult for Canelo to sell out the 20,000-seat T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on September 14th because Berlanga isn't a fight that fans are excited about. Berlanga is from New York, where his large Puerto Rican fan base is located. Berlanga's bitter announcement. "This is Edgar Berlanga. I want to tell my fight fans that we got the fight. Berlanga versus Canelo, live on September 14th in Las Vegas on PPV. For you haters, you're going to eat your words," said Berlanga on social media, announcing his fight against Canelo. Berlanga sounded angry and bitter today in his message to fans about him getting the fight against Canelo. Instead of being happy and upbeat about him finally getting that bag that he's been chirping about for the last year, Berlanga sounded venomous. Berlanga stated, "Don't sleep on me because you're going to be sleeping for a very long time. Knockout season, fireworks, you know how we coming. Big New York," sounding like he's got a chip on his shoulder about fans viewing him as a hype job that Canelo has picked out to get an easy win. Berlanga's message to his fans would mean something if he had the talent to fulfill his remarks, but he doesn't. Andre Ward gave a more measured perspective and stated, "Look, Berlanga has potential, but he's not at Canelo's level yet. Canelo should be fighting guys like Bivol or Benavidez, fighters who have earned their shot. Berlanga needs to build himself more. He believes that Canelo, who has already established himself among the elite, should be facing top-tier fighters like Dimitri Bivol or David Benavidez, fighters who have earned the right to challenge Canelo due to their proven track records and accomplishments."
Both these fighters have power. I want to see how one's going to...
Berlanga barely beat second-tier fighters Stevie Rolls, Romer Alexis Angulo, and Marcelo Contreras. Those 3 fights showed that Berlanga has meager talent and doesn't belong fighting for a world title against Canelo.
Now he claims he has a whole country behind him? Edgar, bro, you're from Brooklyn. I think I'm more Puerto Rican than you are, and I only lived there for 6 years. Puerto Rico doesn't claim you, bro. And as I said weeks ago, this fight will not do well on September 14. Not only because the matchup is okay, but because they're going up against the UFC's debut at the Sphere.
De La Hoya sent a clear message to Berlanga that he is not in demand. When Berlanga had the chance to challenge David Morrell Jr. for his WBA regular super middleweight title earlier this year, he passed it up, saying he wanted to wait on a bigger fight against Canelo. If Berlanga believed in himself, he would have fought Morrell instead of sitting and waiting for the Canelo fight to fall into his lap. De La Hoya openly questioned the merit of such a bout, saying, "Berlanga isn't ready for Canelo. This fight shouldn't even be in discussion." He was blunt in his criticism, expressing that Berlanga, despite his rise, doesn't belong in the same ring as Canelo yet. Eddie Hearn responded with optimism, countering De La Hoya's negativity by stating, "Edgar Berlanga is a hungry fighter, and everyone loves a Cinderella story. If the fight happens, it could surprise people." Hearn believes that Berlanga's youthful energy could present Canelo with new challenges.
Y para este imbécil intento de gente que tengo aquí a mi izquierda, que no se le olvide que yo ya vine siendo el Canelo a Estados Unidos y que solamente lucró con mi nombre. Nunca perdí un solo centavo, sino más ganó dinero. ¿Ya le pagaste a Golovkin lo que le quería robar? Sí, muy bien, porque sí, también, pero si no hubiera metido a mis abogados me lo robas. Es lo único que hace este hombre es ser una lacra del boxeo, robarle a los boxeadores. Para el que esté con él, meta por favor ahí a sus abogados porque seguramente les está robando. Es lo único que viene a hacer al boxeo. Y a lo único que viene es a robarle la atención a Jaime Munguía. No viene a promoverlo.
Canelo went off on Oscar de la Hoya after his outspoken criticism of a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga fight has ignited a major controversy in the boxing world. Canelo also fired back at him once again. Canelo criticized, "Oscar is only focused on what's good for him, not the fighters. He didn't do anything for me. He's not honest. It's all about business for him and nothing more." De la Hoya often reminds people that he played a major role in elevating Canelo's career, asserting that the fighter's success wasn't achieved in isolation and stating, "Canelo has always been one of the best fighters in the world, but he needs to remember that he didn't get there on his own. We built him up, and he's where he is because of the team around him." De la Hoya, who has been a key figure in Canelo's rise to stardom, labeled the matchup as a step backward for Canelo, arguing that Berlanga is not yet on the level to challenge such a dominant champion. This stance has drawn sharp reactions, with some accusing De la Hoya of trying to stifle an exciting fight for personal reasons, while others support his position that Canelo should be facing only top-tier competition to maintain his legacy. Fans on social media were divided. Some sided with De La Hoya, agreeing that Berlanga needs more seasoning before taking on such a monumental task. Others, however, were intrigued by the matchup's entertainment potential, seeing it as a way for Berlanga to prove himself and Canelo to engage with fresh talent. At the end of the day, the clash between maintaining the integrity of boxing and catering to fan excitement is a constant tension in the sport. While Oscar De La Hoya and his allies argue that Canelo should be focusing on more established elite-level opponents to solidify his legacy, but do you think Canelo is right in choosing his opponent? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section.